Hello, my name is Carlos, and I'm a student of la UNAD, Universidad Nacional Abierta y a Distancia. I'm currently taking a bachelor degree in foreign languages with emphasis in English, and this is an activity video for phase one for the course Didactics of English. And I would like to start my video uh, with the first step, which is giving the definition for the concept of didactics of English. So, the concept of didactics of English implies the art of transferring knowledge to your students while considering your students' different style of learning. Uh, Bearing in mind that we all learn in different ways. So, when I think about didactics of English, I immediately think about how can I create mm, how can I teach a certain topic to a group of students where everyone learns in different ways. So that is the art of didactics. When you make sure when you plan your class, you make sure that everyone gets the knowledge that you're trying to transfer to them. You know, correctly and in according to their learning styles. So didactics comes right after you sit down and you plan your class, right? And when you plan your activities and you bear in mind every student that you have in your class, making sure that everyone is going to learn. I believe before we didn't take into consideration the students learning styles. Everyone was just receiving the information the same way. But now I believe that when it comes to didactics, the learning environment also plays an important role here. So I believe that a learning environment needs to be according to your subject, to what you're teaching. In this case, if you're teaching languages, if you're teaching English or any other language, you need to set up your learning environment in a way that everyone is into the subject. So another important thing about didactics is one of the keys to effective learning is getting your students to trust you and follow you. So when didactics is in the room, see, so your students follow you, your students trust you, and then you get results, you get positive results. So that's a key point of didactics. Okay, so it's a group of things that come together that makes didactics. So that's my definition, and I would like to continue by giving uh, I would like to continue with the second step, which is summarizing the key points of the practice guideline. Well, basically, the practice guideline, states, all the rules and duties. Clearly states the number of practice hours that we had to complete in order to pass the course. Also, how we should behave while these practices. So let me go into that part. So okay, so I would like to start to describing what our participant observation practice is. So in the course Didactics of English, in addition to the theory activities, we also have participant observation practice activities. So this is what I want to explain. I want to explain the participant observation practice, which implies completing 32 hours of practice. So these practices have to be, they take place at an institution, educated institution environment, or it can be a virtual environment, but it has to be assigned. So that's why we had to go to the seminary first in order for our zone leaders to assign to us the institution. It's always good to always start doing our practice observation uh, ahead of time reading and investigating what the rules are. We have to complete certain courses that are mandatory in order to be able to start your practice. In this case, you can't take more than two practice courses, uh, mm, because it will be too much and it will be hard to handle. So maximum two practice courses at a time. And well, talking about this specific practice for the course didactics of English, so we have to complete 32 hours, and in these 32 hours are completed, are are scheduled to be completed in three phases: in phase two, phase three, and phase four. So in phase two, which is the language theories phase, so there we had to complete 8 hours of participant observation practice, 2 hours of material development, and 3 hours of virtual environment. So it can be planning or meetings, with the teacher in charge where you're going to serve for your practices. And then you are on phase three, which is the language skill practice. You have 8 hours of participant observation, and then 2 hours of material development. And then on phase four, which is the last phase, you had to complete 3 hours for adjusting an e-portfolio, where you had to organize all your the material that you created, forms signed by the teacher in charge of the institution where you doing your practices, and also from your zone leader, tutor. So everything needs to be very well organized. And 3 hours for simulator, which means that at this last part we had to basically have the opportunity to maybe lead an activity or give a class to the students. So 3 hours for simulator and 3 hours for virtual environment. It can be in any way. So this is basically how the hours are distributed, and some of the rights and duties are they're basically related to values. So make sure that you treat everyone equally, regardless of race, sexual orientation, or culture or religion, any type of type of discrimination that could arise. Avoid that. Treat everyone equally. Empathizing is great. We have to provide great service because we're representing the university. So we're not students, and we have to be the best. So let's try to serve. In everything is needed. Let's do everything. In well done. Perfectly. Well, I'm not perfectly, but what I mean is very well done. You see, because nothing is perfect, but but we need to stand out. That's what I mean. We need to stand out in your service and what you do. You have to be on time, on to your classes and everything. So this is what basically is. Regardless of the environment where you are, make sure that that you keep your values, that you be responsible, ethic, and we'll be able to represent our university in a good way because we're the future teachers. So come on, let's rock it. Okay, so this is basically what it is about. So making sure that we do things on time and that we be example for others. So thank you very much for listening.